Let me quickly quash another lie we tell. And I've been hearing that lie a lot in the security circle. The reason why we don't want to go in there and fight these bandits and recover these people is to avoid collateral damage. It's a lie. I'll remind you, 2020, an American, Walton, was arrested by a bandits group or terrorists, a bunch of terrorists. 6 of them, they took him. The Americans contacted the same Nigerian government. They got intel about where he was. They brought in Naval SEAL into this country, conducted an operation, killed 6 of the terrorists, evacuated the man, took him to the American embassy in Niamey, in Niger, from there en route to America. President Trump went on the air and bragged about it. Our own, we never see the bandits being killed in a rescue. You heard what Professor Bolaji Akinyemi said that day. When we did everything and we're ready for the Americans to be able to fight Boko Haram, all of a sudden, as regards the Chibok girls, we saw that the gas masks, terrorists were already wearing them. The gas masks they were supposed to gas. So who is doing the infiltration? And this pattern is repetitive. The question is, when next will it happen? And when it happens next, it's still going to be the same modus operandi. The government will never hear that in a rescue operation, they get these people killed. Every effort to get these people killed, they stopped it. President Buhari, the first thing he did when he came into power was he stopped that agreement that the Jonathan government had with mercenaries. So you see, while we deceive ourselves with a false illusion that yes, they are back home, what were the terms and conditions? What did we lose? We lost the fear of the state, because the state is supposed to have the autonomy of violence. If there's any non-state actors that has more violence than the state, then go back to section 14, section 2. The protection and the security is hampered. Then what happens? The state has broken its social contract with the people. And I have a premise to call for the resignation of the president. So I think I've made that point clear. So while we celebrate, yes, but there's also shame. Egmi is coming on us gradually. Ayo, let's time travel. If we were at this point in time in the 80s when the Metisani riot happened, and you read about the prowess of a military general called Muhammadu Buhari that chased this Metisani people into Chad, that was the height of the Nigerian army. But juxtapose that with today, and if they tell you that the national security advisor of a country will be that one giving assurances to families of those that have been kidnapped that their children will come back home while they have negotiations and romance with this criminal, the first question that you will ask yourself is, what happened to the Nigerian states? The second question you'll ask yourself is, are these the vestiges of a failing state? So my question today is to the security architecture, what happened to Nigeria? Are these the vestiges of a failing state? That we now go to beg to get our people rather than show military might. If you go back to the Nigerian Constitution, section 14 subsection 2, about the sole responsibility of government being to provide security for lives and property, there is something we as Nigerians do in exchange for government to do that. We surrender our sovereignty to the government in a bid for the government to protect us. So it's a social contract. If you read Jean-Jacques Rousseau, what do you do for me that will make me do something in return for you? We have surrendered our sovereignty, and we in turn expect the government to protect us. And that's why when we collect salaries and they remove payee taxes from our salaries, we are paying all of these taxes because we expect them to be able to do something in return. But when they now fail in that responsibility, then there's a failure in the social contract. And when there's a failure in the social contracts, people can actually call for the resignation of the president of the country. Because there's a failure in the social contracts. So, whatever it's worth, despite the fact that we can celebrate on behalf of those that have come back home, let's not forget that there's been a failure in the social contract President Tinubu promised us. So it's not amiss when people call for his resignation. And let's stop being sentimental. It's not the end of the world. If we call for President Tinubu's resignation, heaven will not fall. It's for him to double up.
All right, that is Rufai Oseni, the face of the Arise television, the man with the empirical fact, the man that is after God's heart, the man who is the voice of the voiceless, the man who speaks for the people. That's Rufai Oseni, a fearless man. He doesn't care what you're going to do. He speaks the truth and nothing but the truth. You saw Ruben Abati sat down there looking like a Dundee and listening to his, his boss speaking, even though he claimed that he went to Harvard University. Oseni did not go to Harvard University, but he's more sensible. He talks, reasonably, and he always bring out empirical fact. Empirical fact. That's what he always bring. See, honestly, if Rufai Oseni is not in Arise TV, and maybe Oji Okpe and the other of my sister, what was that my Yoruba sister's name? The other lady, the second lady to Oji Okpe, that they normally do money show. If these three people are not in Arise TV will not be anywhere, not with Ruben Abati. See, the truth is that our government has failed. We should call for the resignation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He should resign because his government has failed and failed woefully. Let me share with you guys this morning for you guys to hear from the man with the empirical fact, Rufai Oseni. Share this video, like it, repost it, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace and love.